In the year 1542, a tiny flame of life was lit in Linlithgow Palace, Scotland, a mere 6 days before her father, King James V, drew his last breath. King James V died on December 14, 1542, at the age of 30, likely from an illness such as cholera or dysentery. This was shortly after the Scottish army's decisive defeat at the Battle of Solway Moss against the English. He was so devastated by the loss and the lack of support from his nobles that he suffered a nervous collapse. James V's death came just 6 days after the birth of his only surviving legitimate child, his daughter, Mary. It's said that upon hearing he had a daughter instead of a son, he famously remarked, "It cam dawi a lass, and it will gang dawi a lass," lamenting that the crown came to the Stuart family through a woman, Marjorie Bruce, and would now pass to one. Opening the coffin of Henry, the 8th Scottish enemy king, nephew James V. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Her birth, a source of great hope, was also the harbinger of a profound and tragic destiny. They named her Mary, a sovereign from the moment she took her first breath, an infant queen thrust onto a throne in a land of warring clans and ruthless ambition. Her early years were a whirlwind of political intrigue. The English king, Henry VIII, sought to unite the crowns of England and Scotland through a marriage between his son, Edward, and the infant queen. This proposed union, known as the rough wooing, was fiercely resisted by the Scots. To protect her, Mary was sent to France at the tender age of 5. The Scots fiercely resisted the rough wooing for several key reasons, and one was the preservation of sovereignty. The most significant reason was the desire to maintain Scotland's independence. A marriage between Mary and the English Prince Edward would have essentially made Scotland a vassal state of England. This was an unacceptable loss of sovereignty for most of the Scottish nobility and population. The Auld Alliance. For centuries, Scotland had a close military and diplomatic alliance with France, known as the Auld Alliance. This partnership was a crucial counterweight to English aggression. Marrying their queen to the English heir would have broken this long-standing and beneficial relationship. Religious differences. Henry VIII had broken with the Catholic Church and established the Church of England. Scotland, at the time, was still a predominantly Catholic country. The proposed marriage would have brought a Protestant king to Scotland, threatening the Catholic faith and the established order. Brutal English tactics. The name rough wooing came from the brutal military campaigns that Henry VIII launched to force the marriage. English armies invaded and devastated large parts of southern Scotland, burning towns and killing civilians. This violence hardened Scottish resolve against the English, as they saw Henry's actions not as a legitimate courtship, but as a ruthless attempt at conquest. She was raised in the opulent French court, a stark contrast to the rugged Scottish Highlands she left behind. Here, she was educated alongside the French royal children, and became a beacon of beauty and wit. She learned to speak several languages, ride, hunt, and play the lute. A true Renaissance princess. In 1558, at 16, Mary married the Dauphin Francis. When his father died, he became King Francis II, and Mary became Queen of France. Her time as queen was short-lived, however. Less than 2 years later, Francis died, leaving her a childless widow. The French court, once her sanctuary, now felt cold and unwelcoming. With her future uncertain, she made the difficult decision to return to Scotland in 1561. She returned to a country she barely knew, a land convulsed by the Protestant Reformation. John Knox, a fiery Protestant preacher, viewed her as a Catholic idolater and a threat to the Scottish Church. Despite this, she navigated the treacherous political landscape with a mix of grace and cunning. She sought to rule with a degree of religious tolerance, a policy that pleased no one. Catholics saw it as a betrayal, while Protestants saw it as a temporary compromise. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. In 1565, Mary married her cousin, Lord Darnley, a handsome but petulant and arrogant man. Their marriage was a disaster from the start. Darnley's jealousy and his craving for power led him to conspire against her. This culminated in the brutal murder of her private secretary, David Rizzio, a crime committed in front of a pregnant Mary. The following year, Darnley himself was killed in a mysterious explosion. The chief suspect in his murder was James Hepburn, the Earl of Bothwell, a man Mary would marry just a few months later. This hasty marriage shocked her subjects and fueled the rumours that she had been complicit in her husband's death. The people of Scotland turned against her. In 1567, she was forced to abdicate her throne in favour of her infant son, James VI. She was imprisoned in Lochleven Castle, but managed to escape and fled to England, seeking sanctuary with her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I. Her arrival, however, was not the salvation she had hoped for. Elizabeth saw Mary not as a relative in need of help but as a dangerous rival. Mary had a legitimate claim to the English throne, and for many Catholics she was the rightful queen. Elizabeth had her imprisoned, a virtual prisoner for the next 19 years. From her gilded cage, Mary became the focal point for a series of Catholic plots against Elizabeth. These conspiracies, often fueled by desperate exiles and foreign powers, sought to assassinate Elizabeth and place Mary on the English throne. The most famous of these was the Babington Plot of 1586, a conspiracy to kill Elizabeth and install Mary as queen. Unbeknownst to the plotters, their correspondence was intercepted and decoded by Elizabeth's spymaster, Sir Francis Walsingham. The evidence was damning. With great reluctance, Elizabeth was finally persuaded to sign her cousin's death warrant. On February 8, 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, walked to the execution block in Fotheringay Castle. She wore a crimson petticoat under her black gown, the colour of Catholic martyrdom. She met her end with dignity and resolve. Her final words were, "In manus tuas, Domini, commendo spiritum meum." Into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit. Mary's death, like her life, was a complex and tragic drama. She was a queen born to rule, yet a victim of forces far beyond her control. A Catholic queen in a Protestant land, a French princess in a Scottish court, a claimant to one throne and a prisoner in another. Her story is a poignant testament to a life lived in the shadow of the axe, a life of power and tragedy, faith and betrayal. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you for watching, and ring that bell to receive notification on new videos.